Nestled in the small town of Churubusco, Indiana, lies a mysterious creature that has sparked curiosity and folklore for decades. Believed to be a massive turtle or reptilian beast, it has become an enduring legend in local lore, drawing visitors and researchers alike to uncover the truth behind its existence. Let's delve into the captivating tale and explore the myths, legends, and facts surrounding the Beast of Busco. Hello everyone and welcome to Wicked Encounters, where we explore just what goes bump in the night. I'm your host Allie, and today we are going to discuss the Beast of Busco. The Beast of Busco is said to be an enormous snapping turtle that was first seen back in 1898. Now, wait, this is seriously massive and cryptid-worthy, I swear. It's one of the more interesting Indiana folklore out there when it comes to beasties, so just bear with me.
I like turtles.
Said to weigh over 500 pounds and measuring 6 feet across, the beast is said to live in the small Folk Lake that is near Churubusco, Indiana. It was first discovered in 1898 by a farmer named Oscar Fulk, who owned several acres of land and the lake that took up his name. This thing was a monster, hard to ignore with a powerful beak-like jaw. He tried to catch the massive turtle many times, with no luck, and later on tried telling others about his turtley neighbor, but eventually dropped it when it seemed no one was interested in hearing about it. The beast remained an elusive, rarely mentioned legend for half a century, save for the odd person who would go out from being told the tale secondhand that Fulk had spread, until it came back in the spotlight in 1948. Fulk had sold his land to some new people, who he then shared the tale of the large turtle he had seen from time to time come up from the lake.
That's the most foul, cruel, and bad-tempered rodent you ever set eyes on!
And then in 1914, there were reports from the new owners that they had seen it for themselves. When Gil Harris bought the property in 1947 and moved in with his family, a wife and son, he wasn't expecting those tales of a giant turtle allegedly living in his lake to be true. On July 27th of 1948, Harris had let Ora Blue and Charlie Wilson, brother-in-laws of his, go out on the lake to fish. They had found themselves a decent enough spot, readied their lines, and waited for something to bite. And something definitely bit. Surfacing alongside their rowboat, a massive creature rose from the lake with their fishing lines in its mouth.
Jesus Christ! I warned you!
I've done it again!
I warned you, but did you listen to me? Oh, no, you knew it all, didn't you?
Described by the fishermen as having a head the size of a child and a back as broad as their boat, the waves rolled off of its shell as they would a rising submarine. The two quickly rowed back to shore, where they told Harris about their experience. Harris, of course, thought it more than likely to be a fisherman's tale. An exaggeration by his brother-in-laws, though the mentions of this mysteriously large turtle from family and others in the area started to make him believe that something could be off about the small lake. Then he caught a sighting for himself. In early autumn of 1948, Harris was helping a church minister by patching the man's roof. While doing so, the minister pointed out to the lake where something was moving across the surface. From a distance, it was clearly something big, though they paid it no mind since they couldn't tell what the thing was that they saw. And it's not that odd to see odd shapes moving in the water. The next day, Harris and the minister noticed the shape again, though this time it was swimming in the opposite direction. Figuring the lake wasn't too far from their location, a half-mile at most, they decided to check out what exactly it was that was in the water. By the time they reached the lake, the creature had disappeared. Not being deterred, they got in a boat and went out onto the water. The two looked down in opposite sides of the boat to find the shape that they had seen from the rooftop. After a while, the minister exclaimed that he saw it. At the same time, Harris said that he saw it while on the other side of the boat. "Now surely that can't be," exclaimed the minister. But Harris says it was, as he saw the tail right in front of him. "Well," began the minister, "there's its head right there." The two with their boat had found themselves right on top of a massive turtle. After that initial run-in, Harris claimed he saw the turtle quite often afterwards, and even took his son on a boat during one sighting to get close to the massive creature. When they were able to get their rowboat close enough, Harris had the bright idea to reach out and touch its tail. The beast reacted pretty much as you'd expect, lurching and thrashing away from the intrusion, which caused their boat to capsize. Fortunately, neither of them were hurt in the encounter. By 1949, Harris had shared the many sightings he had, making locals begin to make attempts at catching the turtle in regular intervals, though all of the attempts failed. In the first week of March, about 10 or 11 men made an attempt at catching the beast with no luck, though they were said to have successfully cornered it off the shore in a trap made up of stakes and chicken wire in roughly 10 feet of water. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, the turtle was much too strong and broke through, though one would-be captor told a different story, quoted as saying, "There were about 10 or 11 of us, had him in a wire fence, and we had him a-comin' in muck, you know? We knew we had him in there because we could see him a little, and we pulled him pretty well to the edge. I think if they'd kept on, of course they was pullin' a ton of muck along with it, you know? They was pullin' hard and somebody spoke, 'Well, let's let him go. We can never pull him out.' And I think if they'd kept on, they probably would've. But he was a big turtle." Another man named Del Weingardner had supposedly gotten film of the turtle from his position from a tree, and farm worker Dick Zollman claimed he saw the turtle early on in their attempted capture, sunning himself 10 feet out from the shoreline. Zollman wanted to go out and put an oar alongside of the animal to see just how long he was, but Harris wouldn't have it as he was worried the action would scare the beast away. Harris was said to be very concerned about making sure none of the would-be turtle catchers hurt the animal. This concern led to many plans being vetoed in how the traps could be laid out. Harris owned the lake, so he had the final say in who was allowed to do what in it. They also began referring to the beast as Oscar, little nod to the initial farmer who had seen it.
Well, it's always the same. I always tell them, do they listen to me?
Though some also say that Oscar is just a common turtle name in the area, which, how many turtles do you guys have if you have a literal common name for turtles? Like, that's just kind of, alright, dogs and Max, I guess. Another attempt was made at capturing Oscar, but rather than cornering and ensnaring him, a large cage made out of pipes was used. The turtle was able to escape, though, as the cage was too small to go over the whole of it. The group thought that by putting rails along the entrance, the cage would be able to hold the large animal. But the following morning, those rails were pushed aside and Oscar was long gone. Quite a few people had made attempts at catching Oscar by this point, and national media had begun taking an interest in him when a young reporter from the United Press International sent the story all across the country. Honestly, the story couldn't have come at a better time, as America was between wars and people were desperate for happy news stories. The article of attempts made to catch a giant turtle, well, it did just that. These coverages throughout 1949 had prompted thousands of people to gather at Churubusco in hopes to see or capture the turtle themselves. And with some news stories poking fun at the idea of a giant monster turtle, Harris took it very personal as a slight against his reputation, dumping even more of his own money to find the beast, developing different traps with the local mechanic to try and capture him, and had also hired professional trappers and divers. The media was continuing to cover the different attempts, and it was becoming hard to tell what was fact from fiction, with journalists just lying about what was going on, sightings, capture attempts, and exaggerating on Oscar's size more and more. In April, the hunt appeared to finally be over when 2 Indianapolis men claimed to have caught the turtle, but it was very easy for all to see that what they had was a sea turtle they had purchased to try and cash in on the Beast of Busco craze. It did give Harris an idea of potentially using a female sea turtle to lure Oscar out, but it seemed he was a bit shy and didn't make an appearance for his potential girlfriend. Harris had even tried to drain the lake through the use of his tractor and a sump pump. The story of Oscar had started to fade, but this new attempt caught people's attention again, making them flock Harris's property once more. Where once people were free to come witness the attempts, Harris was now charging a fee, as the number of people who had come onto his property had damaged his crops something fierce, and the various methods he'd used to try and catch the beast had hit his wallet hard. Harris had used over 2,000 gallons of gas, reducing the once 7-acre lake to a mere acre. Locals believed that perhaps the now fully dubbed Beast of Busco was hibernating in the mud. Finally, though, on October 13, 1949, the beast made its final appearance when, in plain view of 200 people, he put on his most spectacular show when he leaped out of the water to feast on the live ducks set atop a trap. Of course, he wasn't caught. After this, the muck-covered lake bottom took its toll on the pump, wearing it out and breaking down the tractor. Harris abandoned any further hunting attempts after that. He had contracted appendicitis, and during his recovery, rain had come and refilled the lake. All of the time and money Harris spent hunting for the turtle had caused his farm to fail, leading to the family to need to sell the property. And the new owners of the land refused to allow further searching of the lake for the Beast of Busco. But that hasn't stopped the legend from living on. Since 1950, Churubusco has held an annual festival in June called Turtle Days, an event complete with a parade, a pageant for Miss Turtle Days herself, 5K race, carnival, a pie-eating contest, turtle races, vendors, and much, much more. All in honor of their new mascot, the Beast of Busco, which has tourists from all over come to attend the 4-day event. Churubusco also has a small concrete statue of a turtle on the sidewalk at the main intersection of its center, so that they can always remember the legend that gave them national attention for the year of 1949. Still, we can't help but wonder, whatever happened to Oscar? Could a turtle of the Beast of Busco's size actually have ever existed? According to Churubusco turtle expert Rusty Reed, the answer is yes, though maybe not to the insanely massive size of legend. If Oscar was a real turtle, he most likely had to have been an alligator snapping turtle. The world record for the common snapper is 70 pounds, but the much larger alligator snapping turtle has a recorded weight of 236 pounds, with a legend of a 403-pound specimen having been found in the Neosho River of Kansas in 1937. Alligator snapping turtles perform warmer climates, but they have been spotted wandering north as they get older, and with gaining about a pound per year, the larger specimens are typically found north from their usual stomping grounds. That being said, Reed claimed that if an alligator snapping turtle did get as far as Indiana, it would have to be massive for a turtle. But there's no way it would have been the size of a dining room table or car as claimed. A more likely reason for this size being given would be that snapping turtles have proportionally larger heads than most turtles, and it can cause people to overestimate their actual body size. To back this up, there is no claimed sighting of anyone having seen the Beast of Busco fully out of water, making the claim much more likely to simply be an exaggeration. As to whatever happened to the Beast of Busco, well, he hasn't been seen in over 60 years. Some theorize that perhaps it had used an underground channel to make its way to another lake, though this is unlikely since there's no proof to show that Folk Lakes has any underground channels linking it anywhere else, especially with the many feet of muck that makes up its flooring. The other theory, one Reeds believes to be more accurate, is that in Harris's attempt at draining the lake, the beast burrowed itself into the lake bottom in an attempt at escaping, and in doing so, it suffocated. We may never know for sure whatever happened to the Beast of Busco. There are chances that it may even still be alive to this day. As with all turtles, snappers can leave exceedingly long lives, with claims of up to 400 years. We can at least be sure that Churubusco will continue celebrating their turtly neighbor for years to come. But what do you think? Do you think the Beast of Busco was real? Could it have been as large as Harris claimed? Do you think there's a chance it could still be alive to this day? Let me know in the comments. I read them all for future video ideas and to see how many other people enjoy learning about spooky stuff like myself. If you want to see what I release in the future, consider subscribing, liking this video, clicking the bell, and sharing it with others. Many of my videos are thanks to suggestions given to me, so feel free to let me know what you'd like to see covered next. If you'd like to support me in other ways, consider checking out my Patreon. Speaking of patrons, I'd like to give a big thank you to mine. You guys rock, and I'm so thankful to have your support. With that, I'm Allie, this is Wicked Encounters, and I'll see you next time. Bye!